Let's jump into some tips about Soulmask. These are essential tips for your gameplay, and I hope you'll stay all the way till the end where I reveal the most important tip. Let's start off with mounts, and one thing that I want to say is that this game is riddled with systems that are rooted in reality. So, if you jump off a ledge with a mount, it is going to take fall damage. I'm using the ostrich, so it takes reduced fall damage, and when I fell from there, it took 208 fall damage. However, it had a completely empty inventory when I took that fall. So if I load this mount up with stuff and I do this again, it's going to take increased fall damage. So as you can see, we have 1200 copper ore and we're reaching capacity on what this mount can carry. We'll jump off here again and I'll show you how much more fall damage it actually takes. So we took 337 fall damage this time. Now you might say that's not a very big increase, but this is a mount that has 95% reduced damage when falling, and it's really not carrying that much. When you compound how much a llama can carry in the 1200 weight, then you're talking about a lot more damage. There's no doubt in my mind that there's some tweaking that needs to be done for fall damage for mounts, but as of right now, you should be very careful when you are riding a loaded mount. The next tip is about armor, weapons, and tools, and when you are crafting them, you should continue crafting until you get a legendary set, the set with the red background like this. There's a huge difference between legendary and epic, especially in armor, since there's 6 total pieces that you're equipping. When you get legendary, it's going to give you a lot more damage, a lot more health, all those things. So it's very important that you continue to craft those items until you get a legendary set for yourself. Additionally, if you're crafting any of the boss armors, you want to make sure that you don't use anything but legendary when crafting that set initially. It's very important that you have the highest stats on it because it's very expensive, not only to craft, but also to repair. And that leads me into when to repair your armors. So it's a lot cheaper to repair your armors than it is to craft the armor. However, every time you repair anything, whether it's armor, a weapon, or a tool, you will be losing max durability on that piece. My advice is that you wait until you almost can't go out of the base with the amount of durability that you have left. Then you repair that armor. And I found that 2 repairs are about all I can do before I need to just craft the armor all over again. For the armor that's not legendary that you're not going to use yourself, what I recommend doing with that is either give it to your tribes people and get them kitted out in the best possible armor you can, or you can use it for repairs of the boss armors like the Sabertooth armor. Another tip that I have is to farm the Sabertooth on repeat, and you can do this on the lowest level Sabertooth. What you're looking for is the green crystals and the blue crystals from the Sabertooth, as well as the other drops that he drops, because the hide can be turned into the delicate hide when you get to that level. Additionally, you can use all those resources to make the Sabertooth boss armor, and if you're ever having a hard time transitioning from the iron level gear into higher level content, the boss armors can be helpful. Go back up, kill the Berserker Sabertooth when you're ready to, and unlock the ability to make his armor. His armor will give you a slight edge against the additional content. There's a lot of people asking where to build, and I'm just going to give you some general tips on where to build and where not to build. First of all, the closer to a portal you can be, the better. Soulmask is not a game where there's a specific location that you can build on the map and have access to all the resources that you need to succeed in all the content. There are pockets of resources like getting iron here, but you still need to travel to get coal at some point in time, like coal is up here. And additionally, you're going to end up needing to go to all of the different dungeons around the entire map in order to get the resources that you need to upgrade your mask. On top of that, if we're talking about weapon mods or gear mods, you're also going to have to travel across the map to get all those mods in tier 3. So being close to a portal is very important. I did a test during my live stream where I came down to this point right here, and I was able to run all the way to this portal in about a minute. That's about 1,000 meters away. So anytime you can be within about 1,000 meters of a portal, that's my recommendation. Additionally, if you think it's a good idea to build on top of one of these rock structures that you have to climb up, it is a very bad idea. Do not build on top of rock structures like this unless you're a masochist, because what's going to happen is when you get invaded, all of those invaders will not be able to find a path to your base, even if you put stairs down to the bottom. During the testing we did before early access, if you built in an area where it didn't have a actual mesh map leading to your base, the attackers would just spawn on top of your base and start destroying it from the top down. Now, you may already know this, but putting a tribesperson in a bed when they're knocked out is going to make them tame faster. So what you could do is set up a small outpost outside of a main base or a barrack when you're raiding it. And you can set this up as large or as small as you want. And when I do it, I just let these decay. I don't put a bonfire down. I simply place a bunch of beds, set up a small structure, and then throw people in it. However, when you deter someone in a camp and you don't want to run all the way back down to your base, what you could do is actually find beds inside these bases. And you can place these guys in those beds and have them tame faster. One thing to keep in mind when you're doing this, that anyone can come by and pick up that deterred person. So if you're on an official server or you're on a server with other people and you're leaving them in beds, there's a possibility that someone else will come by and take them and you will not still have them. So depending on your situation, depending on the server you're playing on, this may not be the best thing to do. Additionally, if you're ever in a situation where your morale is really low and you need to get a little boost, you can actually sleep in these beds as well. It is very slow. It's going to be slower than sleeping in your own house because you don't have the comfort levels of sleeping in your own place. However, if you need a quick boost, you can use this trick to get some extra morale. Let's talk a little bit about buffs and what you should be eating. You should always be eating a meat, a staple food, and a fruits and vegetables. On top of that, you can always drink a alcohol for recreation and take a cigar as well. But there are also other buffs that you can use. The excitant, for example, gives you a 10-minute buff where you get extra morale, your morale is not decreased, and you get movement speed and frostbite damage reduction. There's also a beverage buff that does not get overwritten by the recreational buff. So iced cocoa, for example, is going to give you flame resist, max hydration, hydration and satiation, and uplifted mood. And all the medicines will stack. You do not have to worry about overriding a medicine. So if I drink the excitant and then I need to drink an antidote, those two things aren't going to overwrite each other. So you'll have both of those buffs. So just for an example, you can see how many buffs I have on the right hand side of my screen here, and that can really help you out when working your way through these camps or any other content. You also want to have multiple options for healing. So you want an immediate heal, and then you also want to have a overtime heal. So one of the creams is a good thing to have on you, and then a bandage or a couple of different bandages. That way you have other options. You don't always have to be using your best possible bandage. You can switch to a different bandage if you're not in the middle of a fight. We've probably all been in the situation where we've used up a bunch of mask energy and now we need to replenish it. So we're sitting there just chugging the sunstones forever and ever. And it's telling us, well, we are already using it and it just takes a long time. There's a better way to do this, and it's on the mysterious stone table. So what you want to do is come over to this craft tab. You're going to take the sunstone, not enough energy, and just split that down to 1. Then place that in the add fuel over here and place your other sunstones down here. You'll have this energy gathering crystal. You can see there are two different recipes. You can do the lost energy recipe, or you can do the sunstone enough energy recipe. Each one is going to add 10,000 energy to this unit. So it takes no time at all to craft these. So we'll craft one of those. We'll craft one of those. You can see that the sunstone of not enough energy gives us 1 minute of activation on this table. These guys carry 10,000 energy. So you can see it's in my hotbar number 8. And if you watch my mask energy, when I use that, it's going to fill my mask energy to the max. So just one button click to go from whatever level of mask energy you have to the maximum. This is the absolute fastest way to get your mask energy. So let's talk about mods and what you should be doing with your weapons when you have them. So let's grab all these mods here. You can see we have a damage mod, we have a durability mod, we have a coma mod, a bleed mod, and then a paralysis mod. If we take a quick look at the steel blades, this is what they look standard. However, if we drag a damage mod onto it, you can see we have this modify where it says weapon damage plus 20. Now, a lot of people have stopped just at this point because when they've drugged something else on top of it, they see the icon here change. However, if you look at the modify, you can see it's just additive to what was already there. So you really want to stack all of the mods that you have on each weapon. We get an additional 20 weapon damage, 10 bleed, 10 paralysis, 70% durability cost down, and then 10 coma. The same thing goes for your armor. They stack as well. There's concealment, radiation, heat, damage reduction, defense, attack, poison, chill proof, durability, and sound. And if we take a look at the armor that I'm wearing, you can see I have radiation, poison, heat proof, chill proof, and durability cost down. Now you can't apply everything to every piece of armor. Some pieces of armor will not accept mods, like your ring and necklace will only accept durability cost down. Until you get into the late game, when you are finding the attack mods on the map, you can apply these attack mods to your necklaces, rings, and gloves. Applying as many mods as you can in the best quality that you can to your weapons and your armor is going to help you be more tanky and give you an advantage at the level of content that you should be playing against. This final tip has to do with dungeons. Now you're going to do a lot of these mechanical dungeons through your gameplay in order to get all the masks or all the best resources. And if you want to find the boss easily, it's actually a lot easier than even watching one of my guides. I've been going through these and actually cataloging the directions to do this, but I've got to give a big shout out to community member Tabrin for bringing this up and showing me this amazing tip in this game. So if you're ever wondering how to get to the boss from any section of the dungeon, what you want to do is pay attention to the lights that are next to the doors. You can see here we have a light that is lit, and here we have a light that is out. If we continue following this path, we'll actually get to the main boss of this dungeon. Always looking for one light that is out and one light that is not. You can see we have one lit, one not, whereas the other one has two that are lit. So this is the direction to the main boss. And you can see again there is one lit and one not, so we run straight through and continue down this path. There are some sections where you may get a little bit lost where there are two lights lit, but if you continue to kind of comb the area, you will find one door that has one lit light and one that is not lit, and you just continue following that, and it is going to take you to the main boss. I have tested this on multiple dungeons and it works every single time. You can see here is one boss that we have to defeat, but if we head back here, you can see there we go. We've got another spot where there is no light and a light. We'll just run past that guy and continue this direction. We should get to the boss very shortly. Continue through here, and again, at the end of this room, we're going to see one lit, one not. Go through this door. Sometimes the lights are the ones that are on the walls as well. You'll see one lit and one not lit on the walls. Just continue to follow the path that is one lit and one not lit. And there you go. We have the final boss. I'd like to thank all my YouTube members for your continued support. Y'all are absolute legends. Don't be out of whack. There's another video on the screen right now that you can watch to support more of my content.